Hello everybody and welcome. This is going to be a video from the Rift public test shard of the first of the new Chronicles coming hopefully in patch 1.5. As this is from the test shard, anything in it could be subject to any amount of change before it goes live, so this place might look entirely different by then. This is a Chronicle set in Hammerknell titled Runes of Corruption. So we're just fighting our way through the trash here. When you first enter, you can speak to Dwarf over on the left, who gives you a little bit of background and sort of what's going on, do they need any help, that type of thing, and tells you to go and fight your way through to the Great Hall. You can see we've got the quest up the top there. Now this dungeon is designed for, I believe, 2 people, and I think it's aimed difficulty wise at people who are just about level 50. So hopefully I should be able to round up sort of quite a few of this trash and kill it all off. Doesn't seem to be causing me too much of a problem at this point. Just a little bit of time really is what it takes. And of course they drop me loot, which is always useful. So just picking these ones up, and we'll go down the stairs here. And there's some dwarfs here, and looks like the first, which is of course Medantics, who people will be familiar with if they've been raiding Hammerknell. Now this is probably about my 3rd time running through here, as I did a few runs through earlier in this test phase, but I believe a few things have been changed since I was last in here, so we shall see what happens. Now just rounding these up, just killing them. Not really a lot you can say about this trash, it doesn't do anything particularly interesting. Doesn't fortunately hit too hard. And then rounding up the dwarfs around here. And there's a few more dwarfs on the other side, which unfortunately are, several of them are casters, which I do really hate trying to kill in this spec, because they just won't come and stand in the middle of where my AoE is, which is entirely unpleasant of them. So I'm going to kill these, and then there's some more on the other side, so I'll pause the video there and start up again once I'm ready to have a go at the boss. Right, a few dwarf corpses later, and we're ready to have a go at the first boss. So we go over and speak to Borin here, and have a little word with him about getting rid of Medantics, and telling him to go and wake him up. Now when you first start, it does tell you in big green letters across the middle of the screen to use the rune vessel, so it's probably a clue for something that might be quite good to do, so let's go and use the rune vessel. And when you do use it, it will drastically buff the amount of damage you do, and I believe it also helps the amount of damage you take, so you will take less damage. So, yep, and there we go, things... Yeah, Sanctioned Heretic hitting there for 4k, which I think it's probably going to help things. Medantics here does have quite a fair amount of health, he's got over 100k. Which, so without this buff, this would take rather a long time. Fortunately with the buff, it takes much less time. So there's our first bit of loot, and not bad chain shirt there. It's not going to be an upgrade for a lot of people if they're coming in here with like tier 1, tier 2 expert gear or raid level gear. But it's designed for sort of newly hit 50s, so that would be not a bad upgrade for anyone who's only just hit 50. Right, so cleaning up a bit more of the trash, getting rid of it. So the spec I'm using here is mainly what's commonly known as, I believe, Duracell Cleric build. If we look at it here, we've got 32 Shaman, 20 Justicar, 14 Inquisitor, Inquisitor for Soul Drain and Armour of Devotion there. Shaman, so to actually do the damage, and Justicar gives me some self-healing and a little bit of damage reduction, also the damage reduction and increased healing from Shaman. Along with, of course, the mana regen talents and purpose and that type of thing, meaning I don't normally have to sort of drink or really pause in killing stuff. Now just pulling these ghosts, which are rather unpleasantly all casters, so I shall go and hide behind this door until they all come and nicely stand in front of me. And there we go. Soul Drain doing its work there. And doing the same over at the other side. 3 more ghosts there with a nice little chest there, so we'll see what that's going. Picking them up. I do tend to use Vex to pull because it just does quite a reasonable amount of self-healing. And I do find with this spec the main problem is initially when you're pulling lots of stuff, it's getting that first soul drain to actually land and not dying before that happens. So Vex just gives me a little bit more of a sort of buffer for my health because it will heal me a bit. And there we go, a blue shield as well, so, and not a bad look. I do find that quite a lot of the shields in this game don't actually look very impressive, which is a bit of a shame, but here we are rounding up sort of several more mobs. We'll just pick a few more dwarfs, bring them all in front of us, and there we go, the soul drain lands and all my health comes back, which is of course very helpful. So as you can see, I don't think this would be too difficult for a pair of newly hit 50s. If someone who's newly hit 50 coming in on their own would probably be having some trouble, depending of course on what spec they're using, what class they are and that type of thing. But just going to pick these ones up round here, and then we're going to have a go at this thing in the middle here, which I don't remember being here last time. I don't remember this being here last time either, so hopefully it's not going to try and kill me too much. And picking up all these, and there's soul drain, and all is good again. Now, these chronicles I do think are quite a good idea. They seem to be quite fun and they don't take too long. I believe designed to take about 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 15 to 30 minutes. I'm not sure how long this one takes me. I think it's about 10 minutes or so to cut through the whole thing eventually. Well, at least it was, until they change. If they've put like extra bosses and extra trash in here. There we go, if I just pick this up then hopefully I should be able to cut through this in quite rapid succession. Now this does look like this potentially is a boss, I guess. And starts to feed off her young. Well, that's different. Pretty sure that's not particularly motherly. And there we go, all her health almost decides to vanish in one hit. So there we also got the level up for the alternative advancement there, which these chronicles do give a reasonable amount of XP for. It's difficult to judge at the moment because on the test shard I believe the amount of XP you get has been boosted quite a lot, the amount of XP you need, so people can actually test out the system by getting a few more points than they would have been able to. As you'll see when these die, probably my XP bar does probably jump quite a lot. But they do all give the XP for the alternative advancement and some sort of quite nice loot and reasonably entertaining. I believe the lockout of these will be a day, so you can't just grind them over and over and over and over and over at the same time. You can only do each one once per day. Right, is that the room clear? No, we've got some 3 dwarfs here. And the boss. And the boss's son. So if we run over to there, he's going to stomp everything in the way of him. So maybe should have moved out of the way there, but seems the bosses in this don't hit particularly hard. And one thing I would like to see in these chronicles is maybe some form of more interesting mechanics than what they have. Because at the moment they just seem to be kind of bosses that don't hit very hard, and their abilities, if you stand in them, don't seem to actually do anything. Maybe some form of sort of puzzles that don't require gear to get through them, that don't require you just hitting. So either jumping puzzles, I guess, although that would probably get annoying after a while, but just some way of making these fights a bit more interesting, rather than them just having abilities that I seem to ignore. We do seem to have these dwarfs do seem to respawn, and I don't think the boss is actually targetable, so it looks like the fight's over, although I do seem to have now infinite dwarfs, which is different. I wonder if you could just stand here and grind these for all eternity. Possibly something they need to look at if those things are going to give XP and loot, which I'm not sure they do. Yep, they do give XP as well, so I guess in theory, when this goes live, you could just stand here and grind all these things to death, unless something is changed. I would have thought they were supposed to stop respawning the moment the boss is defeated. Anyway, I'm missing some plot here. King says the king gets this demon to help him to save him and his son, which certainly looks unpleasant, and then Boring comes in and saves the day. Oh, not sure he's really saved the day, it's kind of a draw really. They're both stuck standing there glowing at each other. So hopefully they're going to, like, waiting for a raid of 20 people to turn up and save them maybe. Right, so it tells me to run through this portal. So through there, and last time this took me back to the beginning, so let's see where it takes me this time. Yep, it's back to the beginning, and to have a chat with this bloke. There we go, and that is the instance complete. And of course don't forget my loot. We do get plaques here, which is always good, and some plate boots, which are quite useful. So there we have it. That was a run through of the first Chronicle, the Hammerknell one. So we'll see what changes they make to it when it goes live, and thank you for watching. I've been Zero Override, and I do wish you good luck when this goes live.